board meeting for, hey man, oh, good job, right on time. I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of July 17th, 2017. The Board of Park Commissioners of the Lake Bluff Park District, Lake County, Illinois. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Commissioner McKendry, absent on prior notice. Commissioner Mossberger?
Here.
Commissioner Patera?
Here.
Commissioner Wallace?
Here.
President Douglas?
Here. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. And now's a moment for statement of visitors. Since I see no visitors, we'll hold that off for an opportunity comes up for someone who wants to speak. So we'll move on to the next item. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 19th, 2017 regular board meeting? So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay, moving on. The consent agenda. May I have a motion to accept the July 1st, 5th, and 17th, 2017 payables?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Now, may I have a motion to approve the July 1st, 5th, and 17th, 2017 payables?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay. This is quite a pace.
Ron, do you have to do those separate like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They,
So why
yeah.
you can't do one motion to accept and approve?
except because one of the reasons is someone might want to get it pulled off the consent agenda, so then it goes on to the regular agenda, so you're accepting it, and then you approve it separately. So.
Just trying to move even faster if possible.
Fewer words,
That's right.
another 9 holes.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, well, moving on now to the finance, the 2017 June and year-to-date financials.
Yes, page 46 of your board packet breaks out the June versus year-to-date. And once again, remember you have the May golf information, but yet we did put in a bullet point where we think we're going to be at under the first bullet point. As of year-to-date budget, we are favorable than year-to-date budget, even though I'm showing the negative deficit for capital and other. So far, so good, but then when you start adding in the golf and a couple other things, you know, it's going to be close, if not now, knowing the last 2 weeks, it's even going to be harder. So what I'm asking Rich to do is break out where we think we're going to be at with programs and everywhere else. I've been starting to do that, so right now, at least we're better off as we go through the quarterly reports. They will go through their individual areas just briefly. But I think you can see in the first bullet point that preliminary June revenue is estimated $25,000 unfavorable to budget in golf. That's a preliminary estimate. So with what was the $58,000, and then you have the $25,000, and then we'll see where we're at. So you can kind of, it's going to start, the gap's going to start closing very quickly. So fortunately, other areas have been doing well to help us through. And I've told staff that anything over $3,500, even if it's budgeted, needs my approval. So I'll decide whether we need it or not. So that's kind of the steps we're taking. So anything on overall this district?
No, not on the overall.
And then we'll go through each area there.
So, should we have a motion to approve accept the financial report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay, moving on to purchase cards ratification. That's page 60.
So we're really close to previous year, so this is a time where there's a lot being expended, just whether it's repairs or things like that, so nothing out of the ordinary here that I've noticed.
Any questions, anyone? No. I have a motion to move to ratify the purchase card payment of $66,613.79. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Patera?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
President Douglas?
Yes. Okay, moving on to quarterly reports. Ron?
So I will turn over to Ed and
Stand right away.
here, I'll move this since no one's here.
Turn the light off. Or at least one.
So I basically just want to walk through the quarterly report for the fitness center. Just a couple, highlight a couple of the charts that we provided. The ones that I think are kind of the most important of all the charts that we provide, I think give us the best picture, give the board the best picture of kind of how the year is going. So we're going to start with the annual membership report. That report is on page 73 of the board of ed. We're going to start there and just want to point out a couple numbers on here. So first being year-to-date annual membership sales. So this is what we've actually sold 17 and what we sold in 2016 in each of the respective Q1 and Q2. So we're down 6% in sales so far this year. We've sold 415 versus 443 a year ago. And then the second column I want to point out is this 2017 expired number. So that is the number of members that purchased a membership in the year prior, so in 2016, and have yet to renew their membership as of when we ran this report. And we ran this report the beginning of July, so some of these numbers have probably changed just a little bit. That expired number will never get bigger for Q1 or Q2. Those numbers are expired right now. It can only get smaller. We can only retain more of those individuals. So right now we've got 160 expired annual memberships that have expired so far this year. The retention rate of right around 64%. 65% is the industry average. So I think what is kind of an interesting thing to look at, and something we've had a lot of focus on the fitness center here. The last number I guess I'd point out is what our net change is. So this is just annual members. We're down 14 annual members compared to where we were to begin the year. So the big thing I take away from this is it's not necessarily a major retention issue. Obviously we'd love to retain at a higher number, 66, 67, even up to 70%. It really is a customer acquisition, member acquisition issue that we're really addressing right now. That is kind of the general summary of what I think this report says from an annual basis. That if we were able to acquire members at a little bit higher clip, we would. The reason why I don't have an actual number on brand new members so far this year is just with the conversion of software. There are members that are coming up as brand new that are not brand new. They are renewals, And it's just because their data lives in the old software, and now they're purchasing memberships in the new software package. So I do have staff going in on a membership by membership basis and going back and tracking that information so we can get a really accurate picture of exactly how many brand new members we've acquired this year, because I think that's a key number to look at. And so we've got some raw data, but just not enough that I feel really comfortable giving that information to the board yet. I do anticipate by August, once we've got a full year worth of data in the new software package, that I'll be able to provide that information to the board. The next report I want to look at is the membership sold by term report. That is found on page 74 of your board packet. And on here, there's just a couple areas I want to highlight. The first being, what this does is this gives you an idea of actually what we've sold 2017 here, and then 2016 versus 2016. So if you go across on this bottom line, we are down 6% in annual memberships, which we talked about in the previous chart. Quarterly memberships are up 30% this year, and monthly memberships are up 27%. Primarily, that growth happened in May. We set a kind of initiative from a staff perspective, targeted quarterly membership sales, and really trying to grow those in April and May. May is a huge month for us with kids coming back from college and selling quarterly memberships. And we grew that number from 59 quarterly memberships sold in May of 2016 to 93 sold this year in that month. So that's resulting in that uptick in revenue, or uptick in sales. From an actual revenue standpoint, we're talking about $5,000 in that quarterly category. So we're up about $5,000 compared to last year, just in that quarterly. From an overall standpoint, year over year, 3.5% is where we've increased revenue. So revenues are down in annuals, but the quarterly and monthly membership sales have kind of taken that loss, and then we've actually added 3.5% so far this year from a revenue standpoint compared to last year. The next chart I want to look at is Group X visits by month. That is just one tick up on page 74. And then the number I want to look at here is participation. So we've seen a growth in participation. We hit our high water mark originally back in 2013. We had a decline in 14, and then we've done a nice job of growing in 15, 16, and 17. Our issue, though, is if I was to put a revenue number below that, we'd see basically flat revenues each of those years. So when we lost participation in 14, we didn't lose revenue. But as we've gained participation since 2014, we haven't gained revenue. Basically, it remained flat. So it's not a participation issue, it really is a monetization issue. So we converted back in 2016 to a membership base. Here, this is when we converted and started selling more memberships, Group X memberships. Prior to that, we basically were a daily fee facility. We sold some punch cards, you could prepay 10 visits. But we didn't have a real true membership that we sold. We started that in 2016 with the hope that we would increase both participation as well as monetize those visits. We've increased participation, we haven't monetized. So that's something that, from a strategy standpoint, we're definitely going to be addressing as a team, and something we discussed with the Facility and Programs Committee when we met with them last week. The last chart I just want to point out is the personal training hours by month. So this is a look at from 2013 to 2017. Once again, just kind of looking at those hours trained across the board. High water mark here is 2013. We have not reached those levels. In fact, we're about a third of those levels today. But I guess kind of the key thing I think to point out here is our trend. Obviously, we're down 46% in hours trained this year compared to last year. But this trend started well before 2017, so well before 2016. So it was a trend that we started seeing back in 2014. Obviously, in 2016, we no longer had our kind of top building trainer. That happened in May. Obviously, we've seen a decline since then as well. But this is definitely a big area the strategy team needs to look at. I feel like there's obviously a ton of potential there. We know what our high water mark can be. and something we will be addressing as we move into the next couple months.
I have a question.
Sure.
I see that in May and June of 2017, personal training from 37.50 in April to 80 hours.
80 hours training.
From 37 and a half hours to 80 hours in May. It's pretty long, good.
It's a nice little tip.
So what did you do to?
Well, we added one personal trainer. I think a little bit of that was kind of schedules. We had some of our key clients did train more. Didn't see it necessarily a big tick in new clients. We just had more trained hours with existing clients. So
It's still a positive move.
it is a nice step in the right direction. And we've seen a little bit of that traction from a financial standpoint in personal training these last couple months. We've hit budget, bridging that gap, we're getting closer and closer, so.
I have another question. When is the brochure coming out?
August,
For August.
yes.
And are we adding more of the personal training focus on that? The fitness center, is it, because I noticed the Lake Forest one was out and they advertised quite a bit, their fitness center and so forth. And I didn't think that our classes are not even mentioned there. I don't think personal training is mentioned in the brochure or the fitness center. I was just wondering if that was an opportunity since we're focusing on that. It just
Sure.
came up.
It's in the brochure. I can't say that there's really a major shift from the previous fall brochure, kind of the pages that are dedicated to the fitness center. I don't know specifically exactly how many. I'm going to say 4 or so pages we kind of dedicate to the fitness center. They will cover memberships. They will mention personal training. They will talk about our Group X program. There isn't anything in particular we highlighted, simply for the fact that we knew we were kind of in this potential shift, and we really, there's a little bit with the brochure, that piece of marketing was a little bit of business as usual. So what was kind of covered in fall 2016 will be in the fall brochure of 2017. And certainly something we want to address in the future, but we didn't take like a brand new approach with it this year. So.
We usually have to put it together almost 3 months in
Yeah,
advance.
that's what I was-
Highlight any new trainers that we have, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
marketing component.
Yeah, right now we're in like final review. We're basically signing off on final pages and they've been completed a couple months ago. So, but definitely an opportunity for us,
I
certainly,
think so.
certainly. So last part I just want to walk through is just kind of some of our current strategic tactics. So there's 4 of them. One that is completed is our quarterly membership drive that I mentioned. We targeted students, past summer members, current family memberships. We launched this campaign on April 1st of this year with the goal of increasing quarterly sales by 25%. So that would have been 110 memberships sold in that quarterly category. We completed the campaign on May 31st with 122 memberships sold. So it was a successful campaign, obviously resulted in a nice little uptick in revenue for us. The second thing that we're currently in the process of doing is our annual membership retention, and this is kind of more along the procedural standpoint. So 14 days prior, we kind of revamped this a couple months ago. So basically, our current retention procedure is 14 days prior to an annual membership expiring. That member receives an email reminder that their membership is expiring in the next 2 weeks. 7 days prior, there's a report that's populated. It goes to my manager, Tim's email box that says, here's everybody that's expiring this week. He then goes, tracks all of their data, looks at kind of what their history is, tries to kind of figure out what he needs to discuss with them in a phone call. If they haven't come visit us at all, it's more of a, hey, how did we miss you for the whole year? And then with some, it's trying to figure out, are we going to lose them to a competitor? Are we just losing them because of age? But it's that personalized phone call. So he reaches out to them personally, gives them a call 7 days out, tries to get that membership renewed at that point. If we have not renewed them up to 7 days after, we then send them another email just reminding them that their membership has expired. And so that is kind of the procedurally what we are able to manage at this point. This is definitely a procedure that we are reviewing with our strategy team to make sure that we are as effective as possible. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback out of this, and we're using them in our strategy sessions, things that we've heard from members that are not renewing. And then the last part of it is, one thing that we realized as we kind of implemented this procedure is there's a decent percentage of these individuals that have only visited us once or twice. We lost them right out of the gate. We weren't going to retain them 30 days out. They didn't take advantage of their membership. So we had started kind of a kickstart call. So every annual member, once they hit that 30th day, Tim is reaching out to that member, making sure he's tracking their data, making sure that we get them started. If we feel like if we can get them started, we don't have these issues towards the back end. That was really our number one kind of issue that we kept coming across as a controllable retention issue, was that we have these members that just never utilize their membership. And it's really tough 11 months into a membership to give a member a call and say, hey, we'd love to keep you as a member, and they haven't used your facility for the last 11 months. So clearly that was a miss on our end, and something from a strategic standpoint we're jumping on immediately. The next thing is a September 1 or late August reactivation campaign. So we've identified 500 annual members that expired in 2015 or 2016 and are not annual members with us now. What we want to do is we're going to target these individuals. We think industry says that there's a small little sweet spot the week after kids go back to school, where you've got an opportunity to sell memberships. And so we want to take advantage of that, and we want to have a really targeted, focused message. And so we're going to do that to these 500 annual members that we've identified with a add-on membership special. We're still developing, and this week we hope to finalize exactly what that promotion will be, but it will be something added on to the membership, whether that be complimentary personal training, for a regular fitness center member, giving them 1 month of Group X, and hoping that maybe we can convert them into a combination membership, vice versa with a Group X member, getting them 1 month of fitness center, and hoping maybe we can convert them to combination. Something along those lines. We've also talked about the potential of maybe doing an add-on 3 months. So, 12-month membership, but your membership actually goes for 13 months. We haven't firmed that down. Our goal is to have that finalized by Friday this week, and then launch that week after the kids go back to school. So that'll be kind of that last week of August, right around the 1st of September. Try to get them right in that window there. So our goal is 25% acquisition out of this, so 125. Converting 125 of these X members. We wouldn't consider these renewals because they've been expired for more than a year, but converting them into a membership sale. And then the last procedure, and this is to kind of coincide, is a procedure, an auto renewal procedure. Basically, we want to take our annual memberships and essentially have an auto renew on them. We feel this will definitely help us from a retention standpoint. What it's really going to help us do, and one thing we found is we've got these kind of like 7-day or 14-day lapse periods where an annual member will have a membership, they expire, 6 or 7 days go by between visits, and then when they come out for their next visit after they've expired, oh, my membership expired, then they renew. Yeah, we're getting that renewal, but there's 7 days where essentially we aren't collecting dues. So procedurally, we've got to change things. We've got to look at this and make sure we're consistent from a guest service standpoint. Legally, we've got to go through some things, make sure our waivers all allow us to automatically renew a member. So we've got to develop this, and so we can't launch this tomorrow, but our goal is when we launch this reactivation campaign right around the first of that last week of August or 1st of September, we want to do the exact same thing with this auto renewal policy. We feel that will tighten up those windows, eliminate any of these kind of lapse periods of memberships, and then hopefully help us from a retention standpoint.
So how would that work specifically? When they sign up online, the default is automatic renewal?
Correct.
Right, and so
Correct.
unless they opted out of that, that would be the default going forward.
Yes.
Will they have an option to default out of that?
That's what we want to talk about.
Okay. I mean,
Potentially provide that from a front end standpoint, or provide them with a window which they can terminate their membership.
Pretty much everything you do, software, everything is auto renewal.
Oh, no, I completely get that.
Yeah.
I'm just
Right.
saying, they're not used to that process, and you don't want to upset people, and therefore,
Because I don't really like it myself, so it does alienate to some degree, it might backfire to some degree. Anyway, that's where you're going to continue to, present something you think might work best.
That's where we feel from a guest service standpoint, we really want to be consistent and make
Right.
sure that we really ironed out all those
Yeah.
potential issues, because, yeah, we don't want to have any members on.
I have another question.
Sure.
On the target students, that's how I remember.
Yeah.
The target students that you said was your high mark for the quarter, the quarter sales with quarterly sales for student membership. So you're going to lose that in the third quarter.
Yes.
And do you have any idea how much that may affect the budget, or are you going to recoup it in the 125 additional member?
Yeah, I mean, well, we budget not to have as many in Q3. Q4 gives us another opportunity with the winter. We do sell quarterly memberships as we roll into the winter. It's not going to be a big target of ours just because there isn't a ton of sales in the quarterly category in Q3, and we're going to focus and start transitioning a lot of our thoughts to kind of retention of annual members and acquiring new annual members. Obviously, our goal would be to hit budget from a quarterly standpoint in Q3, but there won't be a focus or a target. It's not going to be quite as big a priority for us as it was
Okay,
in Q2.
so thank you for joining, and it's okay that you go back to school, and we're not going to worry about that.
Yeah, and one thing that staff has done, and Tim's done this, and we've looked at those sales that we've had, is we're able to track ages. And so we can target those individuals that bought quarterlies that we know, hey, they're definitely a student, they're going back to school, age 22 and below. Those individuals that are above that, Tim's going to reach out to those individuals when those memberships expire and see if we can convert them into an annual, or if they're just looking to do 2 quarterlies or 3 quarterlies, we'll want to get those renewals in place and help us from a sales standpoint.
And I like the concept one of the thoughts on the reactivation is maybe with the Group X, because if you're having issues with a lot of people engaging, if you gave a window that they could come to the Group X, it may be a way to get them engaged quickly into the process up there. So I thought that was an interesting thought. So.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay.
Jim, just spend a few minutes, just a couple minutes.
Sure. If you I'm going to go backwards here. We're going to go to page 69. We'll start on there. Just a couple highlights. On page 69, you can see, again, we're showing growth with enrichments. Part of that has been, our focus has been actually eliminating and offering a smaller segment of enrichments. When we started in redoing the whole enrichment program in 2016, we offered just 20 different programs. Instead, we shrunk that down, 10 different in the fall, 10 different in the winter, 10 different in the spring. And that really kind of helped us grow because we're doing less cancellations and running more classes. So that's been our focus with enrichments. Same thing with youth athletics. That has been a focus. We've had a decline over the years up until this past 2016-2017 athletic year. We're now back on track to show growth. I'm anticipating that we'll exceed budget expectations for the year. We continue to grow with our gymnastics. We continue to grow with our basketball, and we will continue to work with those programs and continue to enhance them so that way we can attract more people. Finally, I'll get into dance. This is going to be our next focus. We saw for the first time since I've been here a little decline in dance. So this is one where we do the same thing like in enrichments. We offer quite a few different programs in one season. So I'm working with the dance coordinator and try to maybe shrink that down. Also, we need to attract the young families. That's something that we've seen now where we're aging out. A lot of those older kids now are moving on into high school, so they're not in this program. So we need to have a primary focus on the young children that are in our preschool and really promote within there. And maybe offer some more dance classes to the younger kids throughout the day versus after school. So that way we can attract those 3, 4, 5-year-olds and then maintain them, retain those children throughout their tenure here at the Park District. Finally, I'll just kind of highlight our pool memberships. You can see on page 72 that we had seen a real significant growth, 300 new members that have come into the pool. Obviously, this has definitely been a focus of ours. We really want to continue to market the pool and try to attract new members. We actually saw a decline in non-residents, just a slight decline. But we continue to talk to the residents. We're offering special events now at the pool, and we're trying to find creative ways to continue to retain those current memberships as well as attract new ones. So anytime anybody buys or pays a daily fee, we do mention to them, hey, you've bought a daily fee a couple of times, why don't you think about converting that into a membership? So we're trying to train staff as they're collecting daily fees at the front counter that they could try to sell a membership. And we did that. That was new this year. We're actually taking memberships at the pool counter versus guest service desk. You could do it either or, but we're really trying to do it more over at the pool. Any questions about any of the programs? I don't have camps yet. This is like our halfway mark with camps. I am anticipating us, we're getting close to budget, so I'm anticipating that continue to have growth there with the camp programs. I should have more after session 3 is over with. We should really know.
How's camp on that Wednesday? Thursday? Wait, Wednesday. When's the storm?
Yeah, we had quite a few families that didn't show up that day.
But you all were here, even though you had to travel,
Yep. We ran camp.
and it was always obviously inside.
Majority of it was inside on Thursday.
Were you short-staffed?
No, we actually had quite a few staff that made it in. We wanted, that was just a focus of ours because you just don't know. Families depend on camp.
Right.
If they have their children in there all day, then they need to go to work. So we have to make sure that we have the staffing for it. If not, a lot of times full-time staff will jump in, like myself or Sandy Burke, our recreation manager. That's what we have to do.
The show must go on.
You bet.
Good job.
And what about non-youth participation? Is that in some other report?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Adult.
Adult programs. The only adult programs right now that we have is adult softball. We don't, the tennis, it falls under Ed Heiser, his department, along with paddle. I only supervise, we tried to run a men's basketball league. I had a couple inquiries and we didn't get enough teams. But the only other program right now is adult softball, but we are looking at a couple other things such as volleyball. And I still want to give it another try with the men's basketball because it doesn't hurt anything. Even if we end up not running it, at least we're trying to offer it. There are quite a few people that are interested. So.
Any other questions? All with the quarterly reports. Should we have a motion on this to help you do that? Okay, just want to be sure. Okay. Well, let's move on to the new business items, the triplex ring mowers bid.
Just a motion to reject. This is what was tabled last week, and the board agreed to repair. So,
I move to reject the triple X green mowers bid.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Mossberger.
Yes.
Commissioner Patera.
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace. Yes. President Douglas.
Yes. Moving on to written communications.
Well, we had actually quite a few community comments this time around. I think the one at page 88, this is from the spin class. Yes, so this is the first time in my almost 10 years being here that when the board actually approved and purchased, a group together sent a nice card. So they did this on their own, we solicited it, so that was very nice. They are very appreciative, I will tell you.
Always good to have happy guests, right? Great.
And then correspondence is just what's there. Just to add to that is I am chair of the sand management regional demonstration project team. Yes, it's a tough team. And so all this, when you see a lot that's related to sand management, we've really been talking about getting press releases out, getting information out to all the North Shore communities about sand and the impacts. So I would say that the Illinois, the Coastal Management Group of IDNR has been doing a great job of continuing to educate the public on sand and what's been going on. So if you see more articles, that's the reason why.
There's some interesting articles in here too. So,
I think it's fascinating. I could read all of it, but I want to keep it to read. I think it's really, really interesting.
We did get our sand permit. That will be good for 10 years. So
Say that again?
we did get finally our sand permit after a year and a half. That will go for 10 years, so we don't have to keep going back every year.
oh, okay.
So we were late this year because we could not put sand on the beach until we actually had the permit in hand.
And that's Army Corps?
Army Corps, Illinois EPA, as part of my management group, there is a whole crew on permitting. Now, our year and a half is way too long to get a permit. So, anyway, that's another thorn in my side.
Well, you're a patient man, so I'm glad you're able to get that, and actually over a 10-year period. That really sounds like it will make it much easier for the next 10 years. Any correspondences here with, or comments from, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Correspondence?
I'll start. Yeah, and then I'll go to, that's just on file. That's on file.
Okay, verbal communications.
Yeah, really, a couple quick things. As you see the check we got for the impact fees, we did not budget for impact fees this year. So this is something that we get, and we'll go into the capital fund, the impact fees. So you're aware of that. The other is that
Okay.
the village, school district and I meet Wednesday to finalize who we want to choose for the community-wide survey. So I think we'll be pretty much in agreement. That doesn't need to get approved by them, I will let you know, but you've already approved it through the budget process. And the last thing is, you see the last bullet point, Holly Schaefer, I think she was supposed to attend in a sad moment, so she called to apologize to me, said nothing to apologize about that. So, but she was very receptive, and she just said, it'd just be great to get a sign out there so people know where they're going. So that is something that the Parks and Beach Committee will be working on. So that's my report, so that's some good news.
Quick question, just the impact fees, because I missed that somewhere, but the 15,000 that we received, is that sort of in line with what we had hoped for? Is it way less than what we thought we might?
Yeah, I think it's what George thought we would get. We didn't budget for it.
Right.
But George thought that we were going to get at least one permit or one about that amount.
Okay.
So we just agreed that it's probably not worth, I think, to budget for it because we don't know if we're going to get it.
Right.
So that will just build into the capital fund. We have to use that within 10 years.
How many lots are on that property?
I think that might be the last one. I'll double check on that one. The Bath and Tennis Club is, we should be anticipating maybe 2 from there. But I'll find out. Put that in.
And I hate to ask this question, impact fees, but Stonebridge,
I've heard nothing.
it's just quiet.
Just
There were some discussions at one time regarding the whole impact fee process there, but, okay. Maybe that's one of those coffees, I'll try to learn more.
Sarah Nelson still involved with that? He had gone back to it.
He's still in town, still in town. He's got some other projects he's working on, I know that, but this one is, yeah, who knows?
Sarah?
So I put in my board report that we were applying to be a part of this cooperative pool of smaller municipalities. They met today and we just heard kind of informally that they are sending the invitation to the cooperative group of the village, park district, and library. So it's wonderful news. The plans are better for our employees and less expensive for the park district at the same time. So I think it's a win-win for everyone involved. We'll be scheduling a meeting with Finance Administration Committee in the next week or two so that we can bring something to the board next month about plan design changes and employee contributions. So we'll be scheduling that in the next week or so. We're also going to be coming to the August board meeting with an intergovernmental agreement with the village and library to show that we're a cooperative effort into this pool together and we'll work together. I think that's it. I think overall it's really good news. The deductibles, it's just a different deductible structure, less expensive for our employees and the park district. Our overall increase for our existing plan was an 8% increase if we kept things the same, and this is a net decrease going forward. So this is good news.
Sarah, what's the effective date of that? Is it September 1 or do you guys need to do?
Well, we're going to have 2 open enrollments. So their plan year is January, ours is September.
Okay.
So we're going to open enrollment in August, right after the board meeting. And then we'll do it again in October and November when everyone else typically does open enrollment. So we'll be doing it twice.
So you'll have the current policy, current plan from September 1 to 12/31?
Correct.
And you're just going to shift everything over January 1?
No, we're going to switch over to this pool September 1.
Oh, okay.
And then, so we budgeted for it to be on our existing plan this whole entire year. So we're going to get some savings from September to December, jumping into the pool for the last quarter.
And then going forward after 2018, it's going to be January?
Yes. And we have to commit at least 3 years with this pool. So we're going to be in it for
Great.
a long.
Good. I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah.
When, Sarah, I wonder if we can maybe do a couple things when you were scheduling with the finance committee administration, because we have a follow-up too, to, I wonder if we do both of them at the same time, if that makes sense.
I think we.
Unless there's too much.
Yeah, too much. Probably it's gonna be another one.
This is great news. The anxiety of the last couple of years.
Yeah. And I like it because the pool is smaller municipalities, so we all kind of have a similar voice in the matter, opposed to a large pool with gigantic municipalities. We kind of have a little bit more of a voice in this, which is in similar interests. So.
Okay, the only thing that I'll just mention is right now we're going through our accreditation process with our Risk Management Association, PDERMA. And we had completed our audit of the fitness center, and they scored a 99%. So it was a really nice job by Tim, the fitness manager, and his staff, Mary Yu, and Katie Christensen, did a great job. So we've done now administration, we've done fitness, we have done 2 surprise audits on our beach and our pool. I don't have the complete results of those, but I did discuss with the independent contractor that comes out and conducts those, and they said they did a great job. So there was no concerns that they had. They felt, actually, they commented on the beach staff that that was the best beach staff that they had done so far this year. So I expect those scores to come in sometime the first week of August. They still have to go through the administrative side of it August 3rd, along with our recreation side. So the remainder of the programs happens August 3rd, and then later in the month we'll do parks and golf. Any questions or comments?
Speaking of lifeguards tonight, we were hoping during Stick of Visitors to recognize one of our managers who helped retrieve the 2 boys with the dad. Scott was unable to make his class tonight, so I asked him to come in August. So he'll come in August, and we'll just recognize on behalf of the board and the staff, so that he felt good about that. He went beyond what he needed to do, which was the right thing. That was really good pick.
Is the policy that they're not to go out there, but he did, and he was able and all that, or is there a
Yeah.
fine line there?
Jeff, Jim, we worked with Padron on this.
The challenge is they have their swimming area, the designated swimming area. They really have to assess what the conditions are. So if they're good conditions, and that's a judgment call. That's purely a judgment call. So, and that was a judgment
Okay.
that he made. So, can't really tell them, go do it.
Right.
And we spelled that out to them, but, you know.
It was approximately about 100 yards into the lake from the buoy. And so the swimming area is up to the buoy. So he went out additional.
Do you think that people, those who use the beach and have kayaks and other types of devices like paddles and so forth, realize that the lifeguards may not help them if they needed help? And it's happened to my daughter, and they apparently were, screaming for help, and they did not get help, and so they were worried, and apparently it happens more often than we would know. So I was just kind of wondering if that's.
That will be a discussion with the Parks and Beach Committee, how we inform people of that. I mean, the question is, right now, I've suspended all rentals, so we're not going to be doing rentals, but if any, for this year, if there is anybody who just from the yacht club or whoever, that's a little bit of a challenge. It might be a PR type of thing that we can talk to the yacht club to explain to their individuals.
But even if you bring your own, let's say you bring your own paddle.
Which we're allowed to do.
And
so.
you go to a beach area where there are lifeguards.
We have to figure out what's the best way to communicate
Yeah.
that message.
Tough. I think it's
And
tough.
also,
Yeah, it's a really tricky situation.
Yeah, anytime you're swimming, I think people, won't go out necessarily on their own without, but anytime you have any kind of boat or anything like that, it's a challenge.
Well, that's why the suspension of the rental equipment is being done at this point, so we really get a handle on the best approach. But I commend certainly what staff is doing to, and I'm sorry that lifeguard wasn't here, because he did step up in a big way, which, and it's a judgment gray area, and but I think, the Beach and Parks Committee will be addressing this in more
Yeah.
detail, and then we'll wait for some of their feedback on this.
I just don't think it's just a rental issue either,
No.
is my point as well.
Yeah.
I was down there on Saturday at the dog beach, and someone had rented the North Shelter, and they brought inflatable paddleboards, and there were 2 of them, and they were going off the dog beach, and they were going well out beyond the buoys.
I've done that.
I don't, so lifeguards aren't really responsible for that. It's not even where the lifeguard's watching. So I think it's, to your point, I think it's bigger than just the rental.
Yeah,
Because
Sailboats
folks
are
are
out
gonna bring
hundreds
their
of
own
yards.
stuff out.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're up 500 a mile. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big,
It is.
wavy, dangerous place.
Yep.
So,
When there's no lifeguard, I guess you have an expectation of you get nothing.
I get no help.
I get none,
Yeah.
right? It's just the fact that there are lifeguards that makes it tricky.
Well, and maybe there's got to be more awareness to community about really, how dangerous a lake it is. I mean, I still have memories of seeing that movie, Ordinary People, and it happens. You get a squall coming in, and it can turn into a 5-foot chop so fast. So you have to respect the lake, and I think that's probably maybe some education that we can look at with committee discussions. So, but fortunately, everyone's okay, which is
Yes.
the most important thing. So,
Right, Ed and
Moving on. Robert, try to wind it down here really quick. So,
just a couple things that aren't in the written correspondence. First, to piggyback on Ron with the spin bikes, they are on back order, so if you do have anyone who asks about them, they should come in somewhere in the middle of August, or still another 4 or 6 weeks out on them. We have communicated that though to our spin population so that we meet their expectations. Secondly, obviously with the rain last week, we've had some issues operationally. Over at the golf course, we were closed Wednesday and Thursday last week. We got a modified 9-hole golf course open on Friday. We got golf carts out there over the weekend. I do want to commend Rob as well as the operations team at BCG. We did about 200 rounds over the weekend, generated about $5,000 worth of revenue. There were golf courses in this area that were closed over the weekend, so we got some holes open. We generated some revenue. Obviously not the revenues we were hoping for. And a beautiful weekend in July, but something's better than nothing. So I do want to commend both of those teams and how hard they work to get those holes open. Our goal, pending weather this week, is we have an 18-hole golf course by the weekend. But we're calling for another inch of rain potentially this week, so we'll just have to wait and see. And the last thing is we were made aware today that we do have a small little section, like 16 inches in diameter, of poured in place that has kind of peeled away at Artesian Park. We've closed off that section. It's underneath the eastern tower there. So we've got some caution tape up. We've sent some pictures to our contractor. It's not anything terribly uncommon. Sometimes the bonding agent, the mixture of the bonding agent just gets a little inconsistent. And then when they lay that down, it will appear to have bonded, and then with play, it will not be bonded. So I will have a timeline. I'll communicate that to Rod in terms of when that will be corrected. It's a little early. We just discovered it today, so it's just, I don't know exactly how long until we get that repaired, but we are working on it just in case you get any feedback from anyone asking about the caution tape or the board in place.
Hey, Ed, on the blue tab for, the golf financial report, way down on the bottom, number of rounds. I think I might have had the same question last month, but I don't remember the answer. Way to the right, actually year-to-date 16 shows 3,400 rounds. I'm sorry, I'm long enough.
What page are you on?
Yeah.
48.
48?
Yes.
Year-to-date 17 shows 5,400 or 2,000 more rounds
Than what we had done
last year.
prior year.
Revenue is down $6,000. I think something's wrong with the feed in there, and I think the same thing happened last month.
Short of, just 1 second, let's see.
You don't have to.
I have
Just
round,
look at it and-
I have round totals, so let me
Just
just
look at it
see.
and see it.
Yeah.
Bottom line you're talking, yeah.
The bottom, just
line,
the
yeah.
bottom line
Yeah.
just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that total is inaccurate. I guess I will defer back to the quarterly statistic report. That's through May. So the real raw data through June, this year we've done 9,900 rounds through June 30th. We did 9,926
Right.
days, so we're essentially
Yeah,
flat.
here
So
it's
we've
right.
got to just,
But I would either just take it off of here if it's not tracking correctly.
I think, we just need to, we'll get it corrected.
Okay.
We'll just correct it,
All right.
so.
So 9,900 through June.
Okay. Any other questions on the staff portion?
I'll give an update on the golf.
Oh, yes, that's right. We got it wrong.
Well, I'll highlight two things in my written report real quick. One is the beach cleaner engine is in and running, and we've run it on the beach, I think twice now. So that's good news. And then for the greens mowers, so far we've replaced 3 engines. The 4th one seems to be holding its own for now, so that's where we're at there. Golf course, is wet and muddy. We got about 8 inches of rain. Our rain gauge was overflowing, so we don't have an exact measurement, but it was a lot of rain, probably the worst flooding that I've seen since I've been here. We had some sump pump control panels that went underwater, and we had to dry them out. And luckily, they came back to life when we dried them out and turned back on the electricity. We'll probably end up with a little bit of turf loss in some of the real low areas, but I'm hoping that it's not too severe. So, and like Ed says, there's, I think, a 60% chance of rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm not sure. We're gonna hope we can get 18 open, but that's a hope.
I might just mention that fortunately the weekend was cool weather.
Yes.
Which helped these flooded areas too, otherwise that grass would have really cooked.
Definitely. Some of the grass, the lower areas were underwater for 5 days.
Just primarily where you're talking about the potential maybe to lose some areas within fairways?
Yeah, 17. I'm a little worried about 17. There's some spots on 15 that don't look real good near the approach of the green. The start of number 7 and a little area on 5, the start of number 5 fairway. So those are all areas that have a lot of silt or have a lot of water sitting on them for long periods of time. So tomorrow we're going to try to get 9 actual holes open rather than makeshift holes.
It was creative. I played on Sunday. It was very creative. Give you credit for that.
Yeah. Gives the golfers something to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, any other staff reports at all? Okay. Any comments, reports with any committees at all?
Just one out, Bob, if you want to chat, or I just real briefly, anyway. Do you want me to go through a couple of these things? Notes?
Yeah, you can
Briefly.
yeah.
The Finance Committee met on July 7th. It was Bob and me and Ed and Jeff and Ron, and to discuss pretty much exclusively the whole issue with processing and transaction fees for utilizing with ActiveNet. So some real good discussion, a lot of different ideas thrown out. What do we want to do to try to offset, maybe to recover some of the expenses that we have for doing all the processing and transactions. So we left the meeting and said, we're not comfortable, we're not all in, the Finance Committee. So we're going to meet again, and Bob and I will be thinking more about some of what we already discussed to see if we can come together with something we're real happy to bring to the board as a recommendation from the Finance Committee. We're not ready yet for that. So I sort of forget what we talked about. We might get back together again. Did we just...
We're kind of waiting on cost of services a little bit to kind of be the
Oh,
springboard
right.
to kind of rethink what, if any, charges there should be for credit card transactions. The other thing, just quickly to mention, we've been keeping pretty close tabs on the progress of the cost of services group that's doing all the work, and we're trying to line them up and work with them so that when they come to us for the 2 hours that we have them, that they're very focused and they're very regimented on how they get through the information for our group, because there's so much information. So we've kind of asked them as the experts to kind of lay out all of the assumptions, how they're looking at it, how they see other park districts look at it, and organize it so that it's consistent with that, so we don't have to spend a lot of time kind of thinking through their logic, and we can spend more time focusing on the results of their report. So I think that's going to be really important, because there's just going to be a lot to get through in a few hours. So that's all we have.
Okay, any other committees? Have any comments at all?
We met, reviewed the quarterly report that shared tonight, so a lot of the information that we talked about at our committee was shared this evening. But You know, as we've said before, we're definitely very focused on the fitness center and getting that back on track, and we're making good progress there, and I think there's going to be certainly more to come in the next couple months. So.
Usually have surveys going on, I think, this month.
Focus
Try to get
groups
some
all
focus
next week
groups.
and then survey right after that.
So they're gathering feedback in order to be able to really understand what might make a difference.
Yep.
So we're waiting for those results. And we'll take a peek at them and see what
Yeah.
it means. But we also discussed all kinds of pricing options, and looked at the different types of memberships, and just kind of getting a better sense for, you know, why certain things, certain decisions have been made in the past, what's working, what's not working. And that's about it.
Any other comments? All I want to mention is just, last week was a full plate here for this team, and just hats off to you guys for really the multitasking that you've been doing. I mean, we're a skinny operation, and there was a lot of territory to cover last week, so well done. And a lot of improvise. I mean, you guys really did a great job.
And for the week before, the week of the 4th, I saw all you guys, a lot of places. And I think it was really important that down at the beach and at the concerts and at the parade and all the things that you did, I think is very valuable from a community standpoint. And I especially liked you guys carrying stuff down to the beach on July 4th. It was pretty good. So thank you for all the extra hours and efforts. It's noted. So.
Agreed, yes. Thank you. I guess we can have a motion to go into executive session.
So,
Would someone like to do it? You gotta read it.
I do move. Rocco is reading it.
I don't have to print it off.
You don't have it?
You do now?
I don't always do this.
You do such a nice job.
Susan does a lot of the time.
She does a great job too.
I move to go into the executive session for discussion of the meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the district of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06 per 5 ILCS 120/2C21.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Earhart.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Glassberger.
Yes.
Commissioner Patera.
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace. Commissioner Douglas.
Yes. May I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did someone make a motion?
Oh, I guess so. I sort of did.
Rob did.
Oh, you did?
I do.
Oh, you did. Okay.
And then you second?
Yeah, sure.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? We are